Titled A Foreseeable Genocide, the Role of the French Government in Connection with the Genocide against the Tutsi, the investigative report carried out by the Washington, D.C.-based Levi Firestone Muse law firm and commissioned by the Government of Rwanda focuses on France's relations with Rwanda starting slightly before 1990 and running through all the way until the genocide against the Tutsi occurred in 1994 and the years after that terrible tragedy. Based on documentation from that era as evidence, as well as witness testimonies, both here in Rwanda and abroad, the firm's investigators concluded that France played a role in the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi in Rwanda because it did nothing to prevent or stop it, and instead continued to support former President Juvenal Habyarimana's regime. Even after the genocide was halted and Rwanda liberated, the French president at the time, François Mitterrand, and his government would not budge on their stand, something the recently released Duclair report did not delve into. France made that genocide possible, despite it being clear to everybody that it could happen. Also, the two reports of the Duclair investigation in the period ending in 1994, while the one we received today goes beyond that year and what France did in the years after that, especially efforts by the French authorities of that time to erase evidence of their role. An example would be statements made by different officials, but actually began by President Mitterrand himself, claiming that there had been multiple genocides, implying that another genocide had also occurred, not the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi in 1994. We believe such statements encouraged genocide deniers and those that negate it. Then there are the efforts that were made to undermine the Rwandan government that was established after the genocide. You remember the indictments of up to 8 top military officials, indictments that were issued by the judge Bourguer, accusing them of different crimes, and this dragged on for years. I believe only recently did it become evident that his accusations were baseless. This latest report commissioned by the Government of Rwanda comes 15 years after the Muse Report, and both are important when it comes to uncovering the truth. Most of the investigative work done for the Muse Report occurred here in Rwanda, especially in areas that were covered by the Zone Turquoise and other areas where fighting occurred. Certainly this latest report has a bigger international element to it, and even though foreigners were interviewed as part of the Muse Report, this new report has a far greater reach, accessing information the first could not: the UN, NGOs and diplomatic documents. However, let me conclude that be it this report or the Duclair one, neither dispute the findings of the Muse Report. They accept those findings, so they complement each other. The 600-page report received on Monday clearly shows how the government of France supported a genocidal regime despite all of the evidence of what it was planning, providing that support in many ways that included diplomatic and military aid. So one must wonder what legal implications that could have. Even though the report was prepared by a law firm, the objective was never to uncover crimes that can be presented in a court of law. It was supposed to examine documents and listen to witness accounts to establish the historical facts of the 1994 genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi. That's it, which is why those details are also included. But they were never meant to be used for litigation purposes, which is why the government of Rwanda will not use them to seek indictments against any individuals. The reports, however, do not signal the end of anything. These reports we are talking about have been examined and other researchers could use them and the documents that were used to compile them and come to other conclusions, resulting in different outcomes. Let it be clear to those that are wondering if this is the end of the matter, because it is not. Not all issues have been addressed, and it does not mean that France will no longer be asked to explain its role in the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi here in Rwanda. No. This latest report comes after almost 4 years of investigative work, having been commissioned back in 2017.